What's going on, guys? It is Shmeet back here with another video because I wanted to talk about Kemba. And the Nets-Celtics game just ended, so I'm going to be briefly recapping everything that I saw because I watched it from the first second of the game all the way till it ended about like a minute ago. And I wanted to go on here and give some thoughts about the game in general and about Kemba because it's really interesting. And the title of this video is going to be something like what happened to Kemba, or this Kemba is like so much different than the Kemba that I knew in the Hornets uniform. But if I quickly want to recap the game, it was more competitive than I thought it would be. Although the big three only played 8 games together before this game, that was pretty well documented. Through the broadcast. It was still a tough game, and I kind of realized that in the first quarter that it was going to take some time for the big three to really get it together, and it did, and it took them until the second half. Their big three really popped out. Kevin Durant, 32 points, Kyrie, 29, James Harden, 21 points, along with 8 assists and 9 rebounds. Just an overall great second half from the Nets. And the Celtics, it really caps off their talent. They're relying so much on Jason Tatum. They're relying on Marcus Smart. And throughout the broadcast, I wanted to make note of this. They said, Jason Tatum's going to be their number one guy, obviously. And then it's going to be Kemba. And then who's going to be that number 3 player to score? In this game, I guess it was Marcus Smart. But I think it actually goes Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart as a 2, and then who is going to score the third most, or who is going to step up into that role? They had their rookie Aaron Nesmith play a lot. They had Jabari Parker playing 22 minutes. I remember him on the Bucks for the first 3 seasons or so of his NBA career. He had that 20-point per game season with the Bucks, and everybody was like, "Holy shit, this guy is going to be really good." He had a string of injuries. He was bounced around from different teams. He was on the Atlanta Hawks. He was on the Kings. Made his way as a free agent to Boston. Now he's playing 22 minutes in the playoffs, and he wasn't terrible. They made notes that he has all the offensive gifts, which I believe, but it's the defense that really holds him back. And I think he kind of held his own. They were trying to expose him literally every possession on defense. That is Jabari Parker. The big 3 was just going at him whenever he was in the game, and he held his own for the most part. He had a steal on Kevin Durant and then a slam. But regardless, the Celtics lose game 1. And yeah, let's get right to Kemba, because this is I know some Hornets fans have this vengeance against Kemba for going to a different team, which wasn't his fault at all. If I want to go back to 2 years ago when there was that sign and trade with Kemba and Terry, it wasn't Kemba's decision to get traded. He didn't ask to get traded. He wanted his money, which was rightfully so. His play in Charlotte was amazing, and I think that's well documented. He had multiple 20-point per game seasons, led us to a couple playoff performances. And at the end of the day, Michael Jordan came out with a statement. This was 2 years ago. This is not verbatim. He basically said that Kemba's not worth that money. He was looking for the max. He was looking for over $30 million a year, or about $30 million a year. And Michael Jordan was like, "No, you're not that type of player to get it." And at that time, myself, and many other Hornets fans were like, "What the fuck are you doing, Michael Jordan? Why aren't you paying this guy $30 million a year? He is the star player, and he's been on our team for, 7 seasons at that point, carrying our team to wins. Many buzzer beaters, many 40-point games. I think he had like a 60-point game at one point. Just carrying our team to the playoffs in 2016, 2017, carrying our team to a 7-game series versus the Miami Heat. Why aren't you paying this guy the money he's due?" And Michael Jordan just didn't want to. And in 2021, he's looking like a genius. And it's really sad to see. Kemba has 15 points in this game, but I think he hit 2 threes in garbage time, like the last 2 minutes of this game, and he was not impactful as a second option. like I get throughout his first however so like years he was in Charlotte, he was the guy. Like he, other than Al Jefferson, who he played with for a while, Marvin Williams maybe, Nick Batum, who had a few good years with us. Other than those, pretty minimal players, Kemba Walker was the guy. And I get the scoring decrease a little bit. How you're a second option when Jaylen Brown isn't injured, you're a third option, sometimes even a fourth option if Marcus Smart is having a good game. But still, this guy was an all-star. This guy was on all NBA teams. And to see him in this role, I mean, as I said before, 15 points a game doesn't look terrible, but if you watch the whole game, he was not impactful. To go from a guy that had all these accolades in Charlotte to a guy who can barely scratch 10 points going into the fourth quarter as a second option in the playoffs, it's crazy. Playmaking isn't there at all. He had 2 assists. It makes me think, and this is what I was thinking about when Kemba Walker was having this bad game. And it's not just a bad game. Like his first 2 years his years in Boston last year and this year, he has not been the same. And I don't know if that's always been him, and he's just had a bigger role in Charlotte. That's why he's putting up more points and being more, instrumental to our team. But it makes me wonder if players like Terry Rozier, if players like Devontae Graham are, they have bigger roles in Charlotte, which makes them better. But when they get to a team like, a different team like that's a little bit better and they have a lesser role, what are they going to be? And it's really interesting to see that. If I want to flip to the Nets, because I think I've spent a lot of time on the Boston Celtics. The Nets have it together. It's all about, I think ball movement is a thing that is not talked about enough with this Nets team. In the first half, they were just settling for ISOs, settling for shots. Kevin Durant in particular was just taking no passes on offense and just a spot up shot. And you saw the difference in the second half when they actually move the ball, when they actually drive the paint and then kick it. That ball movement actually works, and it's instrumental to what they're doing in the future. And that's going to be it for me. I thought I'd just ramble. I'm a Hornets super fan, so I thought I'd give my boy Kemba some props, and or not some props, but just some talking points on Kemba. I actually want to quickly see what his averages are this year. He's averaging 19 points and five assists this year, which isn't terrible. But I just expect more from Kemba, I guess. He had if I'm going through his years in Charlotte, he had 18 points per game, 17, 20, 23, 22, and then the last year in Charlotte was 25. I mean, going from that to kind of a minimal role, 4-time All-Star, and he's just not having an impactful playoff series so far. And maybe he'll prove me wrong next series. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. I'll see you guys later.